You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WLAK Daily News Roundup for Lake Air, 107.5 FM and 1260 AM in Amory.
For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly. A Minnesota man was arrested and charged with operating while intoxicated with a child passenger in Burnett County over the weekend. According to court documents, 32-year-old Kevin Clea Salmela was pulled over in the town of Webster for an illegal window tint on his vehicle. After approaching the vehicle, a state patrol trooper noticed signs of impairment and conducted a field sobriety test leading to the arrest. Salmela was transported to a local hospital for a blood draw, and the 3-year-old child that was a passenger in the car was released to a responsible adult. Wisconsin Congressman Tom Tiffany is calling on the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin to prioritize overall power production and not to close coal-fired plants. In a letter to the commission, Congressman Tiffany said keeping all of the state's current power plants online and opening new power facilities is critical to maintaining the state's manufacturing industry. He's calling for the use of all power supply sources, including natural gas, coal, and nuclear power. He also claimed wind and solar energy production can't keep up with the state's needs. A bipartisan group of state lawmakers are proposing legislation that would allow teachers to claim tax deductions for classroom materials they purchase. Under the proposed bill, teachers would be allowed to claim up to $300 of state income tax deductions for eligible expenses, including classroom materials and professional development courses. The bill was co-authored by Republican State Representative David Armstrong, and Democratic lawmakers say it's the least they can do for now, but the state should be doing more to fund schools. A Green Bay man has been charged after allegedly breaking into homes and stealing a vehicle in Barron County. According to court documents, 30-year-old Julian Webster was charged with felony taking and driving a vehicle without consent and misdemeanor criminal trespassing in Barron County Circuit Court last week. Law enforcement authorities say he was arrested on May 14th after allegedly being found intoxicated behind the wheel of the stolen vehicle in Lake Hallie. He faces up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine if convicted. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services is warning residents of a slight increase in tick activity so far this year. Officials cited a few reasons for the increase, including a growing tick population over recent years, improved reporting of tick-related illnesses, and residents spending more time outdoors overall. They're also warning about the increased prevalence of deer ticks, with nearly 6,400 cases of Lyme disease reported in 2023. Residents should be on the lookout for signs of ticks when outdoors and take precautions like wearing long pants and sleeves. The Eau Claire City County Health Department is among 9 clinics in Wisconsin that could lose funding for HIV testing under the Trump administration's proposed budget. In May, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services informed the clinics that the grant funding they had received through the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention had been paused. The clinics received a combined nearly $2 million of that grant funding in the first year of the 5-year grant. The second year of grant funding was scheduled to kick in on June 1st. The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources will hold a public hearing on aquatic plant management in Hayward on Tuesday afternoon. DNR officials are holding statewide public hearings on the issue to gather input from residents and impacted businesses before revising their rules for aquatic plant management. Tuesday's meeting will take place at the Hayward High School Auditorium at 4 p.m. The Department of Natural Resources has not yet released a first draft of the rule proposal, but will share information on the changes they're pursuing at the meeting. A new housing project in the city of Washburn has officially broken ground. City and Bayfield County officials recently gathered at the planned site for the Aurora Place for the groundbreaking ceremony on the project, which will see the addition of 40 energy-efficient housing units. The project will feature 4 buildings with 10 units each, ranging from 1 bedroom to 3 bedrooms. The addition of the homes will increase the city's total housing stock by about 4%. The roughly $10 million project is expected to be ready for habitation by next spring. Republican state lawmakers are proposing legislation to continue Wisconsin's Knowles-Nelson Stewardship Program. The bill would reauthorize the program with about $28 million of funding each year until June of 2030. That $28 million is about $5 million lower than the current funding for the program and significantly lower than the $100 million per year for the next decade that was proposed by Governor Tony Evers. The bill would also prevent the Department of Natural Resources from awarding more than $1 million for projects. A pair of Northwest Wisconsin Republican lawmakers were seeking co-sponsors for a bill that would establish a new dairy farm innovation program last week. The bill was proposed by State Representative Clint Moses and State Senator Rob Staffschulte, who say it would help small and medium family farms through a no-interest loan program. The loans would be dispersed by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, and milk producers with between 50 and 714 cows and no environmental enforcement actions against them in the past 5 years would be eligible. For WLAK News, I'm James Kelly.
It's the Brewers and the Braves. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball Game 2 of the Brewers and Braves series tonight in Milwaukee. The Brewers looking to bounce back after losing last night 7-1. Atlanta's Matt Olson smacking a 2-run homer off the first pitch thrown by Brewers lefty D.L. Hall in the 5th.
Coming out of the pen, you can't be soft out the gate. You got to go right at him, and I kind of eased into the first pitch, and he made me pay for it. He's a good hitter. So he did what he was supposed to do. I should have been locked in sooner.
The Braves ending their 7-game losing streak. NFL, the Packers begin their 3-day minicamp. Quarterback Jordan Love asked about facing Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers in October in Pittsburgh.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to be on different sides, meeting up, and I know we'll talk pregame, things like that, and hopefully we can exchange jerseys after.
That's Jordan Love with Sports on Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Lilo & Stitch is still the box office champ. The biggest hit of the summer so far pulled in $32 million last weekend and is now pushing $800 million globally at the box office. The film is showing some great gams with only a 50% drop despite being in its third week of release. The number 2 spot goes to From the World of John Wick, Ballerino, which brought in a less than expected $26 million in its opening weekend and $51 million globally. The 8th installment of Mission Impossible saw only a 45% drop in its third week of release. Final Reckoning is currently at $450 million globally. Karate Kid Legends brought in $8.5 million to come in 4th place, and gruesome horror film Final Destination Bloodlines continues to show incredible staying power by coming in 5th place and pulling in $6.5 million in its 4th week. The film has now pulled in $250 million worldwide. The 2025 Tonys are in the books, and the big winner from Sunday night's event was Maybe Happy Ending. The production, a love story about 2 abandoned robots, was named Best Musical and brought in 6 other awards as well. According to Variety, the play struggled to find an audience until the reviews came in. Similar to the moving picture box office, the theater industry seems to be back on track following the pandemic, with $1.89 billion in ticket sales, which is a record. Brendan Jacobs Jenkins became only the 3rd playwright to win Tonys in consecutive years with this year's Purpose, a hilarious look at a civil rights leader's dysfunctional family, which won Best Play. Other highlights from the evening include Succession's Sarah Snook, who was named Best Leading Actress in a play for The Picture of Dorian Gray. And in sad Tony news that really isn't that sad, George Clooney was a bridesmaid for Best Performance by a Leading Actor in Good Night and Good Luck. Still nice to be nominated, or so I'm told. Hollywood oddball Jared Leto has been accused of sexual misconduct from 9 women. According to Airmail, the Oscar-winning actor has a history of texting underage girls, even calling them in the middle of the night and making inappropriate sexual remarks. According to Yahoo Entertainment, one alleged victim, a Los Angeles DJ, claims she was assaulted backstage by Leto, even though she was only 17 at the time. Representatives for the My So-Called Life actor deny all claims. Netflix has released the trailer for Tyler Perry's latest Medea installment, Medea Destination Wedding. Please don't turn off the radio. Say what you want about Perry and this franchise, which is now 20 years old, but it is impressive that not one of the films has ever been rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and they keep getting greenlit. The franchise started in 2005 with Diary of a Mad Black Woman. For what it's worth, Perry has been part of good films and projects. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
It is going to be quite a bit warmer today, mostly sunny with a high in the upper 70s to near 80 this afternoon. Tonight, clear with a low down to around 60. Tomorrow, sunshine with late day and nighttime showers and thunder showers. And once again, a high in the upper 70s to near 80. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 55.
That's your WLAK Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lakeair.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.